This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory.
The suspect in Charlie Kirk's assassination is now in custody after a 33-hour manhunt. Former Executive Assistant Director for the FBI, Chris Piehota, joining us tonight. There is so much, Chris, that we have learned since this morning about the suspect, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, and all the details about the evidence. Let's start with the weapon that authorities recovered. In your opinion, did law enforcement have the serial number off the gun and when it was bought, when it was sold, who provided this weapon? Or do you think that law enforcement is relying heavily on the suspect's conversations online, the messages with a roommate to make their connection?
Well, what you're going to find in this instance with the weapon that was recovered is the physical evidence that ties the shooter to the weapon. We're talking fingerprints, we're talking DNA, we're talking the communications that this individual had with other people regarding the weapon. The weapon itself, a Mauser brand rifle. It looks like it's about a World War II vintage rifle, probably converted for a .30-06 caliber for American ammunition. And they're going to have to figure out also, unfortunately, if they can recover any bullet fragments from an autopsy of Mr. Kirk. And then they're going to have to reconstruct and see if they can take any ballistics from that round that was fired and match it to the weapon.
Assessing the surveillance footage and all the images that have come out, what can you gather about the shooter's capabilities? Do you see a suspect that knew how to shoot? And then that begs the question, how? How did that person learn?
Well, what we saw was an individual who did some pre-planning. They were obviously able to secrete that weapon, get it up into the position on the elevated building position that the shot was taken from. And then we were able to see the individual move from the shooting location through a parking area, exit the scene through jumping off of a low part of the building, and then moving through into a neighborhood. So this was obviously a pre-rehearsed, pre-planned issue. And I think what we're going to see is that the individual knew how to handle a rifle, knew how to shoot, took that shot from approximately 150 to 200 yards, and used an optic on the rifle. So I don't know if he grew up hunting. I don't think he had any former military experience, but a 200-yard shot is not a terribly difficult thing for a military trained person or an experienced hunter.
As you know, with the hearing next week, we will learn some more information about the charges. What is your assessment of the shell casings? Do they point, in your opinion, to intent?
If you're talking about the inscriptions and the writing on the shell casings, I think it gives us an indication of the ideology and the political leaning of the shooter. It can show us that he had a certain opposing view to Mr. Kirk, and the investigation will ferret out is what was the triggering event that moved him from ideological opposition to an act of murder and an act of shooting.
A lot to uncover from the law enforcement side. We're waiting to see what prosecutors are working on. Former Executive Assistant Director for the FBI, Chris Piehota, thank you for joining us tonight on the National News Desk.